Hey, what's going on, guys? I am Master RKO, and today I'm bringing you a new video. Now, I tried recording this earlier and the VOD got lost, so we're going over this again. But today we're talking about a specific build, or I guess a build guide, for probably my favorite god in the game, and that's Loki. Now, this build that I'm giving you will work for both solo lane and jungling. Only a couple starter items will be changed and a couple different situations, but pretty much for the rest of everything else, it's going to be the same build. And basically what this build is going to be doing is giving you the most possible burst damage that I've seen in a long time, but will also be giving that extra oomph to this god. There's been a lot of problems with Loki, and I've noticed a few different struggles that people are having with him, so hopefully this build will give you guys that extra thing that you need to be better with Loki, and also be giving you guys a little bit of tips and tricks. This will be a little bit of a longer video. The one that I had recorded before was shorter, but I want to go through everything. So first off, we're going to start off with a couple items. We're going to start off with your starters. This is for Conquest. I'm playing on Joust. It's shorter and quicker. So first, you're going to start off, we're going to say it's Jungle Loki. So we're going to start off with Bumba's Mask, obviously. We're going to go into boots, which would be tier 1 boots. But we're going to go ahead and say jump into Warrior Tabby, because that's what we'll be getting anyways. You're also going to start with a couple pots, and you're also going to start with an active beads. Now, I'm not going to get Hand of the God starting off, and even though the other bot is going to be like full build, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm showing you guys what's going on. So this is what you're going to start off with. This is your basic build. You get the warrior for the ability to have a little bit extra power, and you also have that extra movement early. A lot of people say that you should go Transcendence first. I like the movement on Loki. He's a kind of god that you need to be really, you need the utility. Trying to push me out. It's not going to work. Now the thing with Loki, if you're using Bluestone instead, if you decide to use Bluestone instead, what's going to happen with Loki is he's going to be able to have those extra ticks on his abilities, which is actually going to help you in the long run. If anyone gets trapped in the decoy actually does a considerable amount of damage. So if you catch someone in that decoy, it's actually going to hurt them a lot with that extra tick. So as you can see, I'm still healing from the health pots, and that's why you get the health pots first. Now the beads, the reason I get beads is because Loki can get trapped really, really early. He's the type of god that if you're not paying too much attention, he can get caught out really easy. Or he can get shot down by Raw. But he can get caught out really, really easily. So you need something to help you have that not happen, I guess. So as we go back, we're going to look into some other items. Immediately, we're going to go into Jotun's Wrath for the mana, the physical power, the penetration, and the cooldown reduction. That's going to be a major, major role. Now, the third item is actually going to be on the popular. It's not going to be too recommended, but we're going to go into Transcendence. That's going to be your next couple items. We'll go ahead and go out and start building the stacks on that. What Transcendence is going to do is it's going to give you more mana. Now, you can rush Transcendence before Jotun's, but I like to cool down first, just to establish that bit of control, especially if you're in the solo lane. You're going to want to be spamming that decoy as much as possible with the cooldown that you're going to be getting. It's going to help you out that way. Now, Transcendence is going to help you also on the mana side of things, but for the more mana you're getting, you're also getting power. Every stack you get, you're also getting more power. So basically what you're doing with Loki pretty much is being a giant wuss sitting under your tower, hoping not to die, and you're decoying every second. And hopefully you can juke. So passive is going to keep getting stacked. Those stacks are going to keep coming. Buffs are a big thing, especially, and most people don't do this, you can stack while you're jungling, because if you're a good jungler, and this is if you're a good jungler, you're moving all the time. So you're always going to be clearing camps, you're always going to be getting, you know, buffs. So clearing those camps is going to build the stacks, and it's going to continue stacking for you. So as the stacks keep going, and as you keep building those stacks, you're going to be getting stronger and stronger, and as you can see there, my decoy did a lot of damage. So even on Joust, like 1v1, I still build Transcendence on Loki because Joust, you want to have buff control, and if you're having buff control, you're going to be able to clear camps like crazy. That pass is going to keep stacking, and you're going to keep getting those stacks. You're going to gain mana, which is going to help you in the long run, and you're also going to be able to continue gaining power, and eventually you'll become this giant barrage of damage. So we're going to go ahead and go back, and we'll get into the final items that we're going to build. This is the last item that is mandatory pretty much for this build, and that's Deathbringer. Deathbringer is going to give you that extra crit, just in case you ult and don't get the final kill. You'll have that crit afterwards if you get the chance to do it. And then finally, the last item is really up to you. It varies between the two. We will be doing a video on this eventually, but it's either Breastplate of Valor or Mail of Renewal. If you're killing a lot of people, but you're tending to be low on health, go Mail of Renewal. I personally like to go Breastplate of Valor.
What we need
the only reason I'm building this now instead of something else is because usually you're facing against some physical people, and that's usually the ones that you're worried about. The physical gods are what's going to hurt you the most. So right now, we're still building the passive. We're all still trying to kill me. You can't kill me because I'm going to kill him. As you see, I had 60 health. Now, that's what I'm talking about. So if you want to build Mail of Renewal, I would be healing right there. I have a health pot, so I want to go ahead and use it. And usually in solo lane, you're not going to need Mail of Renewal as much. The Mail of Renewal, because that would be more towards late game. You're going to be more in some fights. But as you can see right there, that's where this power is coming from. So as you're getting to hear your passives, I keep calling it a passive, and it's not really a passive, but it's stacking. So as you keep stacking, it's going to get higher and higher and higher. We're going to go ahead and try to max out the stacks here really quick, so that way we can see where exactly we're at. Right there, that was a crit on a buff for 987, and that's not even at full stacks. We still got 3 more stacks to go with more mana. So we'll go ahead and pop that off. That hurt. I missed. And I'm out. So, Mail of Renewal, probably a better option here, so I'm going to go ahead and go back. I'm going to get Mail of Renewal, but first I'm going to get the final item just to show you guys what we're going to be at, because we're at 50 now. The last item after you sell your starter is another item. There's 2 items that I really go with. It's really your preference, whether you want the extra defense or you want the penetration. Personally, I go with the penetration side of things, and I get Titan's Bane. Loki is a very, very good split pusher. He can really tear down towers, and he can also get a very, very big, some big damage on enemy gods with Titan's Bane. So if you're going with Titan's Bane at full stacks, we'll go ahead and look at it. You're at 315 power with damage buff. Now, let's say you want to do something else, and you want maybe some power and defense. I also recommend using Shifter's Shield. Shifter's Shield is going to bump you up to 351 power with damage buff. And you're going to have that magical defense as well as some more physical defense. So you're getting more defense there. If you're facing someone like Raw, who obviously has no defense, 1 ult will drop in there. 1000 crit. That is Super Saiyan Loki in a nutshell. It's insane the damage that you can do. But one thing I skipped over that is probably on your minds: why Breastplate of Valor? Because you get the physical protection tag. But what's it really doing? Breastplate of Valor, another one of its stats, is it gives you 300 mana. That mana actually plays towards Transcendence. So even though you already have a lot of power as it is, using Transcendence, that Breastplate of Valor's mana that you're getting is going to help you out a lot. It's going to give you that extra power that you get. So right now with Shifter Shield, we're sitting at 270 power, which is insane to begin with. And we also have the Transcendence, we have the Shifter Shield, so we have some defense. We also have more physical defense because of Breastplate of Valor. We have the crit and the super damage from Deathbringer. So there's only one other option that we can go with. I'm going to go ahead and kill him here. Dead. And we're going to go back and look at Mail of Renewal. Now, if you're going to use Mail of Renewal, I highly recommend using Shifter's Shield with it, just because you're going to need that little bit of extra defense. But we'll go ahead and put on Mail of Renewal, because instead of that, you're getting more health. You're still getting the physical protection, just not as much. You're also getting some cooldown, not as much, but the extra health, and then the health that you get after killing someone. So what I recommend is taking off Shifter's Shield after that, and using Titan's Bane. Just because, since you're not getting as much power because you're taking away from the mana, because we'll go ahead and put Titan's Bane on. And if you take Mail of Renewal off, you don't get anything. But if we go put Mail of Renewal, or Breastplate of Valor back on, that bumps us up a little bit. So 261 or 252 isn't that big of a deal, but because you'll have that extra penetration, you're going to be doing a lot more damage, and I'm going to show you why I recommend Titan's Bane over the Shift. So we're going to go ahead and pop that. I missed, but it doesn't matter because bam, and the penetration goes crazy. And we'll go ahead and pop that up there. Raw's very fast. I should have took some damage there, but see, right after that, I would be healing again. So right now, I almost have 2,000 mana. I almost have 2,000 health. And I'm doing...
Enemy missing right!
253 base damage, which honestly is high for almost any power that you're ever going to get. So we'll go ahead and get damage buff really quick, kind of show what that would be at. So with damage buff, we're now doing 310. My cooldown's going crazy because of my items, because I'm pretty much maxed out. So what we'll usually do is we'll pop Decoy, alt him, pop that, and now he's dead from 1-3 after an alt and 1 auto attack. So basically that's pretty much it. Now the full build that I use, personally, we're going to go ahead and back and look at the full build that I use. I don't use Mail of Renewal too much. If I do, it's usually on a warrior, or if I'm in the middle of the road.
If you insist.
I know Raw is magical, but most of the time you're going to be facing a physical god, and when you're dealing with hunters and stuff, you're going to want that physical protection. Plus, you're going to be dealing with warriors that have a bunch of protections, so it's going to be somewhat of a problem. So with Breastplate of Valor, on an ult, my ult's already back up in 2 seconds because of my cooldowns, so I can just wait here. I missed that, but we're going to go ahead and pop that. He's good at dodging me. So, bam, there's 880 crit on Raw. And that's someone with no protections. Well, does he? No, he doesn't really have anything. So, but the thing about it is, and the reason why I like having the protections, you see Titan's Bane, I'm just going to shred through this Phoenix. It's going to take me hardly any time to take it. But the other thing that I like about Titan's Bane is that you get that extra penetration that you normally wouldn't have. If you build Shifter's Shield, yeah, you're going to have the power, but a lot of times once people start realizing you're getting power, if you're playing against some really good players, they're going to start building a bunch of defense, and your power's not going to mean too much if you can't get through their defense. So now we have ult, we'll be able to use it, bam, one hit, that's an 876 crit, didn't even need to use my B, and it's pretty much over from there. Now, I can kind of shred through this Titan too. Raw will probably be up, or I will die first. Nah. And see that Titan's Bane still helping. So once you get into the later game, it's insane. So we're gonna go ahead and invis. Bam. 442. We'll go ahead and pop that as the bleed's hitting, and nope, leave me alone, Titan. Well, that's pretty much going to be completely it. There's nothing really else for the build. I'm sure you can give some extra... There's some things to talk about that you can use, but the build that you see on the left is pretty much it. I'm sure you'll probably be pausing it to see the final build, but in short, boots for the movement and power, Jotuns for the cooldown, the starting mana, the starting penetration that you already have, and the just the power, the base power. Going into Transcendence, which Jotuns and Transcendence is up to you whether you want to build it first or second. I personally like Jotuns first. Transcendence is going to give you the mana. It's also going to give you base power at 35 plus the mana and power for all the stacks. So not only are you gaining extra mana to use your abilities, especially late game, but you also have that extra power that's putting you over the top over someone who's not building Transcendence. If you're facing someone who's not building Transcendence, which since Transcendence is a very, very big item nowadays, you're going to overpower them physically anyways. So then that's why we then go into the Deathbringer. That gives you the crits, and that's going to give you that 50 power to add on to it. You can go into some other crit items, or if you feel like you need. Instead of going into that, if you want to be more attack speedy, Fatalis definitely, because you'll be able to keep up with people and stick to them. So if you're wanting to go more attack speed based, I would say go Fatalis, and then either Chin Size or that axe that's beside it instead of, and then go Deathbringer as your very last item. But for this is Super Saiyan Loki. Get in, get out, you're done. Finish with Breastplate of Valor as your second to last item for that extra mana, the extra protections, and the cooldown. And then the last item being Titan's Bane, because without the Titan's Bane, or at least some kind of penetration, which the penetration item can be your choice. I just like Titan's Bane because of the tower potential, because of Loki's split push potential. Gives you that over-the-top edge because you're going to have that power, plus you're going to be able to chunk through people's defense that maybe someone who had the same amount of power or more but didn't have the penetration, they're going to still have to attack through that defense, and they're not going to be able to get through it fast enough. So looking at the final stats, we're going to start with utility. As you can see, we maxed out cooldown, if not went over it a little bit. MP5 we're only at 17, which we're not really building too much of because we'll have enough mana to get through whatever we need. Mana, we had over 2,000 mana, so we had 2,340 mana in total. That's a lot of mana. Going into defense, we had 138 physical protection, which is a lot of protection for physical. That's almost cutting abilities in half when being attacked. Magical, we still had 46 magical protection, which, like I said, you can switch into if you want to do a shifter shield for your last item, or maybe if you didn't want to do the breastplate, do shifter shield. That'll give you some more magical protection if you're worried about that. Health-wise, because of course, the breastplate or the Mail of Renewal, whichever you wanted to use, we have plenty of health. We have almost 2,000 health, and our HP 5 is 21, which we're not too worried about that. We are Loki, so yeah. Mail of Renewal will help with that if that's something you're worried about. Finally, going into the physical stats, we had 20 crit chance. That's just from the Deathbringer, and if you want to add more crit items, that's perfectly fine. Penetration, we had that 11 penetration, which it only shows 11, but you also have that 33% off of Titan's Bane, which is going to be huge. Lifesteal, we didn't have any because, let's be honest, if you're building lifesteal, you're going to be building attack speed. We had 1.34 attack speed anyways, so if you're wanting to build attack speed, I would recommend building lifesteal. So I would say, if you're going to do attack speed Loki, do Devo Gloves instead of Transcendence, and then Chin Size or the Axe for more attack speed, and Fatalis. That'll give you more attack speed, and you'll get some lifesteal from it if you're looking for that route. And our physical power, of course, is 265, which is insane. With damage buff, I think we said we had 321, and then if you're doing this and you're ahead, which you probably are, and you get Fire Giant, you're probably going to be around, I would say, like 350, 360, and you're going to be doing a lot of damage. So this is why I kind of call it Super Saiyan Loki. It's a build that gives him way too much power than what he probably should have. I know if Transcendence gets nerfed, he's probably going to be out of it. But this build is going to help you if you're having some problems with him. The only other tip that I can give you guys before we end this video is don't be a balls deep Loki player. Now, for people who may not know what I mean by that, you can't be up front in the fight with Loki at all times. It's not going to work. 1v1, like I just showed you, yeah, that's fine, but if you're in the middle of a 5v5, you're probably going to die, because all it takes is one good CC and you're dead unless you use all of your abilities to escape. Then you can't come back in. If you're playing as a Loki and you're not out of the laning phase, you want to flank all the time. So if a team is pushing you down mid lane and they're flying down mid lane 5v5 trying to take you out, what you need to do is you need to find a quick way to get around them, behind them, and take out their hunter or mage. So you want to be flanking at all times, you want to be hiding in the bushes, you want to be waiting for your chance to strike, and then leave. So ability-wise, I would use my invis last. I would just find a way to ult in, use your B or your 3, whatever it is, to do more damage. Hopefully the bleed will take them out. If not, they're already low enough, so they're not going to be able to really do anything yet unless they have lifesteal, but they'll still have to wait to lifesteal back. Then invis out and you're gone. So if you get that kill, you just took out one of their players and they didn't even notice it. There's been a lot of fights that I've been in with Loki that we probably should have lost, but because I managed to get behind them and take out a hunter or a mage and get rid of some of their big damage dealers, I was able to turn the fight completely because they didn't have that 80 carry or that mage to give that quick burst damage, and they had to then retreat and wait for them to come back up. The fight turned in our favor and we managed to turn it completely around, and sometimes that can even turn a loss into a win if you can get that one big kill. So that's going to do it for me. I'm Master Archaeo. If you like this video and want to see more God Guide builds, leave a like. If you want to see a specific god or a specific item talked about, leave it in the comments below. I will definitely look over that. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. You'll be notified whenever I put up a video. As always, I am Master Archaeo, and I will see you guys next time. Adios.